2. Welcome to Shoe Time in the Morning
with Mitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Shoe Time in the Morning with Mitch. We are back in the kitchen. We've talked a lot of nutrition, and now we're still on the mission to put the knowledge of health in the wealth of your repertoire so you can live long and healthy lives. We hope you're doing fantastically splendid out there. Lots of stuff going on. Learning the 5 areas of fitness. We have learned 4 of the 5 areas so far. Body composition, flexibility, cardiovascular endurance, muscular endurance. And today we're going to learn about muscular strength. So, getting right into it, we want you to know that we know that you guys have been hanging out. We're looking forward to having at least some of you guys come back in about 2 to 3 weeks after spring break. And the rest of you that aren't here, we'll still miss you, but we're going to get everything going just the same. Now, if we jump into muscular endurance, remember muscular endurance is how many times your muscles can perform a certain activity and last without being completely fatigued or being able to have to stop based upon their ability to withstand the pain of lactic acid and their performance rate. Muscular strength is pretty much the opposite. Now, your muscles have 2 types of muscle fibers that they are made of: fast twitch and slow twitch. The red muscle fibers are slow twitch, and they are able to continuously repeat over and over and over again exercise. They are usually oxygen-based level receptors, right? It means they're going on oxygen base. So you got things like running a marathon. You're using a lot of red, slow twitch muscle fibers. And the opposite of those are white. They're fast twitch muscle fibers. And that is able to contract quickly with force and generate a lot of force and power. And those are not oxygen-based. Those are based upon the glycogen and the ATPs in your muscle. And of course, when they are burnt up, what is the waste product called? It's called lemonade? Nope, that's not it. It's called Swedish fish. No, that's not it either. It's lactic acid, folks. Lactic acid is the waste product in your muscles, in the cells, that creates that burning sensation in your muscles. Now, here's the deal. All right? Generating that force is primarily done by the ratio of fast twitch to slow twitch muscle fibers. And it's going to vary from each individual human. Not everyone has the same ratio. Some people have a lot of fast twitch and not as many slow twitch. Some people have a lot of slow twitch, not as many fast twitch. Some people are built for endurance. Some people are built for speed and power. So everybody's different. This is the way it works, though. There are 2 things we want to focus on. Muscular strength is the area of fitness, but I want to take special time and make the difference and distinction between power and strength. And power is having to do with speed. Strength is just absolute total force generation. So we're studying muscular strength, but it's important to know what power is. Power is the ability to do something with speed, maximal force, but also being able to explode when you do it. All right, some of these things we'll see for strength throughout this week are ridiculous feats of strength, but it's not done very fast. It's just get the job done no matter what. So, speed is important to power because it's how much force you can generate over a quick period of time. Strength is just, quite simply, how much force you can generate. So muscular strength is how much strength your muscles can generate. Now, that could be a lot of different things. Last time we talked about muscular endurance, we were talking about doing how many push-ups we can do in 2 minutes. Well, here's the deal. you might not be able to do 30, 40, 50 push-ups in a minute. Some of you maybe might be able to, but it's all about force when it comes to strength. So if I can only do 50 or 60 push-ups in 2 minutes, all right, that's an okay endurance rate. Not great, not bad, but it's okay. But if I can bench press 1,000 pounds while doing so, boy, I'm strong as a bull, but not very endurance-like in the same comparison. So we see different feats of things that we see across the board. We see lots of strongman events, and I want to discuss some of them that we see right now. Mr. Mitchell, we were watching some World's Strongest Man the other day as we were looking for what kinds of things we could use for examples of strength.
We were.
And we saw one of these big behemoths, 6'5", like 375 pounds, strap an airplane to his back.
And pull it like 100 yards.
And he pulled it. They had a rope out, and he had an airplane strapped to his back, on the wheels, of course. But he would grab it and pull, and pull, and pull, and pull, and the airplane would come with him.
And this was a big plane.
Yeah, we're not talking little guy. We're talking huge.
This is like a DC-9. This is a big plane.
So we're talking strength is the ability to do things at a very, very, very high rate of force generation. All right? Another thing that you'll see, an example, and don't try any of this stuff at home, kids, because these are strength athletes and ridiculously strong. But one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time, and coincidentally, folks, bodybuilders are not strength athletes. There are bodybuilders who are strong, but bodybuilders are building their muscles. Think of it like a sculptor. So they don't really use a lot of weight. They use a lot of reps to generate the right tone and shape of the muscle, but they're not trying to get a lot of size per se. They're trying to get the right balance in their whole body, so they're not using heavy weights like these strength lifters are doing. So they're not that strong, but there is a bodybuilder who does have some power. His name was Franco Colombo. And Franco Colombo is Arnold Schwarzenegger's basically best friend, and he was stronger than Arnold. He was also smaller than Arnold. And Franco Colombo he participated in the World's Strongest Man. And the one that he actually ended up hurting himself in, but one of the things he was doing was they put a refrigerator on his back, and he was trying to run like a 100-yard dash with a refrigerator on his back. All right? Now, it's ridiculous, some of the stuff they're doing here, but boy, are those guys strong. So you think about some of these things. The strength is the total development of force. And strength also can be included into some of the muscular endurance stuff that we do. We do our fitness testing. Muscular strength comes into play in the sense of one of the biggest challenges I think that we tend to fail on our muscular strength on our fitness test for your generation is the pull-ups. Mr. Mitchell, how many kids do you say on average each year can do a pull-up in your class?
I'd say 10%.
10% of the kids usually can do a pull-up. All right? And that is not because you're not able to do a pull-up, you'll never be able to. It's just the nature of the way that we operate. I guess kids don't really climb trees like they used to do. I mean, we used to climb trees all the time just to have fun, or do the monkey bars going all the way across. Believe it or not, we used to have an obstacle course at Bret Hart on the field with monkey bars, big rings, a rope to climb up and down. You guys just don't do that as much anymore. But the strength of being able to pull your body from a dead hang and get all the way over the bar, that is strength. It requires strength. All right? Also, being able to do a push-up is a requirement of strength. Now, also endurance as you start to build up your strength, but you can tell your strength development based upon how you're able to do these exercises as they go forth. Mr. Mitchell, what other exercises do we do for strength?
Well, I would always think with squats. In fact, when we were watching The Strongest Man, how much were they squatting?
I was like a ton. It was like 1,000 pounds.
It was 1,000 pounds. It was half a ton. They were squatting 1,000 pounds. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, so I would say squats would be, I think, would be a very good show of strength and power.
1,000 pounds, folks. I don't know if you can quite understand what that is, but for 1,000 pounds, that's 10 of your classmates, 5 on either side, holding onto a bar, with you going up and down doing squats. All right, that's a whole heck of a lot, folks. What about you, Mr. Mornhenwick?
Well, I've seen some people do bench press with a whole lot of weight.
A whole lot of weight.
A whole lot of weight. And it is amazing how strong they can get.
This guy's pretty strong.
Yeah.
I've seen this guy bench press over 300 pounds without a problem.
Yeah, and it takes work. If he wouldn't work at it, he wouldn't get stronger, wouldn't be at that level. So bench press, I think, is a good example of strength.
Sure. I think it's important to know that your body is designed as a system, guys. So what that means is you develop strength. You want to have strength, but all over the place. Don't just develop the bench press and then your back is as weak as a worm in the wintertime, all right? You got to be able to pull as much as you push. And I'm going through some of that now. You guys may know Mr. Shoemake coaches the handball team. Also used to do a lot with the weightlifting program at Pioneer when I was helping out over there with Coach Zarlacki. You wouldn't believe the amount of people that want to only get strong in the muscles they can see in the mirror, and they forget about what's behind them, all right? Pulling and pushing, balance you want, balance, all right? You want balance, you want your body to be symmetrical in the front and the back and on both sides. So absolutely. Bench press is a great generator and great marker of strength. Squat is a great marker of strength. One that I think also is a great marker of strength with pull-ups also that people don't mention a lot is the deadlift. And the deadlift is all about strength. The deadlift is quite simply picking up as much weight as possible from a dead standstill at the bottom as you can do. Just picking it up and putting it back down. And they used to just do it with the bars and the weights on it. And now, as we'll see in some of these videos, I'm sure, in all of our classes, they do things like they pick up boulders. They pick up tractor tires, and these tractor tires also weigh about 1,000 pounds. And they pick those things up and put them back down. All right? Now, that's strength. They do some power things too. They do take the kegs and the locks, but instead of just picking it up and putting it down, which would be a show of force, what they do is they take the keg and they throw it up in the air over a big line to try and get it up over. They also will take logs and try to heave the logs up over. And that's the difference between strength and power. Right? Picking it up is the strength. Being able to throw it with some force, that's the power. So remember, muscle is what moves our body. All right? It moves our body with force. The maximal force that we can produce, that is our strength. So, Mr. Mornhenwick?
Well, thanks, Mr. Shoemake. And I'll tell you what, Mr. Shoemake, I have felt like a worm in the winter at times.
Worm in the winter.
And I'd like Mr. Mitchell to speak on that just for a moment. What does a worm in the winter feel like?
I don't know. Maybe Ducko knows. But
No, Ducko! I haven't seen Ducko today, have you?
I haven't seen Ducko at all.
Huh.
I think he's hanging around here somewhere. I don't know.
Somewhere, I'm sure somewhere. Mr. Shoemake, before I ask my question,
Worms in the winter?
would you quickly explain the doping? Remember last time we talked about Lance Armstrong?
Sure.
And explain just real quick to the students out there what he did that was illegal. What is quote-unquote doping?
Okay, doping that's actually a great point. And depending on the sport that you do or what your activity is, there's different types of doping. A lot of people know what steroids are. Lance Armstrong didn't use steroids. But in a lot of the strength sports, they'll use steroids to get bigger muscles, more than you would be able to naturally produce, or they'll take testosterone enhancements and be able to generate maximal force as they go here. That's good for football, for wrestling, things like that. Yeah. What Lance Armstrong did was something a little bit different. He took a substance called EPO, and what that essentially allowed was better oxygen circulation through his blood. So it allowed him with 2, 3, 4, 5% or 2, 3, 4, 5 times better oxygen circulation than the regular other biker. So he was already a good biker. That didn't make him win the championship only alone because he was a terrible biker that sat there, took EPO, and all of a sudden became this great biker. But he was a good biker, he wanted to cheat a little bit to get the best of his advantage here. And to be fair to Lance Armstrong, there were other bicyclists doing it at the same time, so he wasn't the only one out there that was dishonest. There was a big field of dishonesty, and that wasn't a good thing. But he took EPO, allowed his oxygen to build higher than others. So everyone's going, huffing and puffing, they're hanging, and then they're gassing out because, whoo, I'm getting tired. But he had that extra oxygen boost in his blood. So since he was oxygen-based at the time, and everyone go ahead and type in the chat box right now, what is the name for oxygen-based exercise? Hopefully you got it. Anaerobic is not the right answer. Aerobic is the right answer. Fooled you, all right? Aerobic exercise, but he was doing aerobic exercise, oxygen fuel. He had more oxygen to fuel, and he went through that 21-stage, 2,156-mile race and kicked everybody's butt. Not once, not twice, not only after a cancer surgery, but 7 times. And it was phenomenal. But they found out he had some aid in the system, and he was disqualified.
That's like, steroids in baseball. Barry Bonds, the home run king? I think not. I'm still going with Hank Aaron myself.
Hammer and Hank!
Absolutely, because he didn't take steroids. He didn't take human growth hormone.
And let me tell you this, first and foremost, guys. We here at Shoe Time in the Morning vehemently oppose any type of steroid or performance enhancement that is not a natural anything, all right? Just be yourself. Be the best you that you can be. But just to kind of, he mentioned Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds used to play for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was a phenomenal baseball player. He didn't need to cheat.
He didn't.
Sometimes you get the need to say, I'm up, but I want to make sure I'm the best up here. And then he cheated, and he became a whole different baseball player. He became known for home runs. He would have made the Hall of Fame if he just didn't do anything different than what he was doing for the Pittsburgh Pirates for all those years.
Yep.
So, don't be
still not in the
fooled.
Hall.
No, he's not going to be in the Hall because it's been soiled by that steroid thing. He won't admit that he did it, so he's been soiled by that. So, guys, just be the best you can be, and then that way, whatever accomplishments you got, you know you've earned them, and everyone will respect you for them. Mr. Warren Himwood?
Indeed. So, when you cheat, you quit on the rules.
Absolutely.
Don't quit on the rules. You know the rules. Everyone should abide by the rules. It's like war ball. Let's get real personal. Bret Hart personal. In war ball,
When you get hit,
you get hit,
you're out.
you get out.
Nothing's worse. Nothing's worse than watching the ball come. See, you guys haven't gone with us yet because you had Miss Cott, Miss Ray, Miss Garcia last year. But we do war ball, pretty traditionally, and we got it down to a science.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be standing in the corner watching the action, what's going on, looking around, and then I'll see a player. He or her, happens both ways, will be standing right in the middle, looking around. The ball comes, boom, hits off the knee, and sometimes they do this. They'll look around. No one saw, and they'll keep going. And then they didn't see Mr. Shoemake behind him. I got to stop the game. Everyone take a knee. Look here. Don't cheat, all right?
Don't cheat.
Be honest, respectful, and responsible.
Sportsmanship.
Indeed.
So it is tempting to cheat, but when we play war ball, it really is a good revelation of who's honest and who's not. I love to see someone get hit, and they don't know I see them. They kind of look around, just like Mr. Shoemake just did. They're tempted, and they kind of start playing. Then they think twice, and they get out. Then we'll also pull the whistle and go, boop, boop, boop. Hey, you were tempted to stay in, but you got out.
Nice job for being honest.
Extra good sportsmanship.
We're grown men, and we're always tempted. So
Absolutely.
the temptation will come. You just got to weather that storm and do the right thing. Here's a question for you guys. Talking about quitting. And every time someone quits doesn't mean they cheat. I'm not saying that. So here's the question, guys. What was one time in your life when you quit something when you really should not have quit? One time in your life when you quit something when you regret it and you know that you should not have quit. Mr. Mitchell.
I was talking to you guys about it earlier. When I started college, I made the mistake of taking a class at 8 o'clock in the morning.
And, been there.
And you had to walk across campus to get to the class. And I was in school in upstate New York where it snowed 1.5 feet for the months of December, January, February, and March. And it got to the point where I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to walk across that campus and freeze my butt in minus 10-degree weather to go to school, to go to a class. So I quit that class. So yeah, I've quit stuff before. You know, I learned by it. After that, I never had a class earlier than 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, look at the adjustment he made. He realized he wasn't a morning person, didn't like the cold. I wouldn't have liked it either, but he made the adjustment. Guess what? He sits here as a credentialed teacher, so he finished.
Oh, yeah.
That's the key. Adjustments are not bad. All right, Mr. Shoemaker.
Well, Mr. Shoemaker is not a quitter per se, but there have been some times where I may have finagled a few things. And I'll give you an example. Mr. Shoemaker, as you well know, played football, ran track, did some boxing, played some baseball earlier, lots of different things. But track and field was really the one. By now, if you don't know, you should know. Mr. Shoemaker is a cheetah, not a wolf, all right? I don't run long distances. It's just not in me.
He's not talking cheater. He's saying cheetah.
Cheetah. Now, here's the deal. You guys aren't to high school yet, but when I was on the track team, you come out, this is practice. When you came out, if you were a sprinter, you come out, you run 1 mile. That's the warm-up. And then you do a little dynamic warm-up, and then you go out and get ready to sprint. Now, Mr. Shoemaker, especially at that time, had a different mentality. Hated the mile. Hated it. Didn't like it. But my mentality wasn't get better, be the best you that you can be. My mentality was, I'm going to make this work for me so I can kind of do some other things and still come out and do what I want to do for sprinting. Well, I was also a jumper. I did the high jump and the long jump. So what I would do, Mr. Tactical here, all right, I would go to the jumpers practice, and I would stretch and warm up with the jumpers. I would do my jumping, go get in and out, and then I'd look over. All right, they're ready to sprint over there. And then I would go on over to the sprint practice and jump in line with the sprinters. And I really could have gotten away with that for all 4 years. But I got some blowback from that because I went over one day and we had a new coach that was there. And she said, oh, I didn't see you on the warm-up for the sprinters. So where'd you go? I said, oh, I was warming up with the jumpers. And she didn't call me out on it. But as a result, and this is just the reality of life, all right, that coach, not verbally, didn't say anything negative to me, didn't really put me, but didn't really help me at all through the rest of my track and field career. Just kind of more or less ignored me. And that wasn't the only coach, but I didn't get any help from that coach. And it was kind of like I could tell I got a reputation for being a little bit of a slacker from that coach. Not that it was the truth, but I was trying to cut the corners. And she recognized it. So I really kind of didn't really quit per se, but I did cut the corner and try to take a shortcut and, quit and on the mindset of being the best me that I could be, what I should have been doing, and just did what I wanted to do. So,
well, like Mr. Mitchell, I had a class in college too. It was a statistics class. I walked in, the teacher was going over the green sheet, much like we do with you when we first meet you. We'll have a green sheet, some form of green sheet. We'll go over the rules, regulations, what to expect, what you're going to be asked to do in the class. And I was intimidated. A lot of numbers and letters, and I was thinking, oh, I got it. So I sat through the first class and I quit. I didn't come back the next time. However, like Mr. Mitchell, I made an adjustment. I didn't take the class that semester, but I knew I needed the class to graduate. So I thought, what will work best for me? So instead of taking like a 16 or 18-week semester class of statistics, they offered a summer course, which was 4 weeks. Now it was high intensity, but I thought to myself, I can almost stand on my head for 4 weeks. So I got with other people who knew that stuff better than me, and I just hung out with them for 4 weeks. I studied with them, and I passed that class.
What's that old saying? A winner never quits.
And a quitter never wins.
Quitter never wins.
Say it again, people.
A quitter never wins, and a winner never quits.
There you go. Well, guys.
Oh.
We got a rookie again, folks. It's all right. Bill Withers.
All right, that's me, Mr.
It's a
Mitchell.
lovely day.
I haven't seen Mr. Mitchell move that quick in a long time.
like a cheetah.
He does have some dance moves. Well, guys, my average leg day in the gym is when I do diddly squat.
Oh,
Oh, boy. All right, guys, quick principle before we let you go. getting really serious here just for a moment. What is the cry of the human heart? What does each human really desire? Well, I know one thing for sure is this. They desire for other people to understand that I'm here. I'm here. Do you see me? Please acknowledge me. And in my class, you know the principle AMP, A-M-P.
Acknowledge me, please.
Me, please. Acknowledge me, please. Oh, whew. Acknowledge me, please. There's a lot of things you can acknowledge. Things that just happen. But, really, if you want to make friends quickly and you want to keep them a long time, acknowledge people. And here's an easy way to do it. When you see someone, just say hello. And you can add a smile to that. You can add a smile to that. Say hello and smile. Now, nowadays with the masks, it's a little harder because you can't see facial expressions. But acknowledge me, please. Everyone wants to be acknowledged. And it's real simple. A-M-P, acknowledge me, please. Just say hi with a smile. Sarah, smile.
That's a great song.
How does it go, Mr.
You and me forever. Woo! What is going on here?
Still building healthy relationships.
What's the purpose of Bret Hart?
HR squared.
Honesty, respect, responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are moving along, almost an entire year done. All right, we want to continue to tell you to be the best you that you can be and keep moving forward. Always try to be a little bit better today than you were yesterday. I'd like to give a special shout out to the push-up champion, Mr. Harry Yin, in my 6th period class. Lasted 1 minute and 26 seconds on the Bring Sally Up, and everyone in my class for doing a great job of giving it the best. And keep on pushing. Push on.